All right, man. Indiana Fever news, fresh off the press. Sophie Cunningham with a big announcement prior to potentially returning to the Indiana Fever. This is something that we definitely have to pay attention to because Sophie the Trophy, the blonde bomber, 1/3 of Tres Leches, is a key and vital part of this team. And I'm hoping and praying that the bonehead Indiana Fever front office and head coach will make the right moves to secure Caitlin Clark's.
The words left her mouth, and the room froze instantly. Sophie Cunningham just signaled a massive shift in her career path that could leave the Indiana Fever in a state of total chaos. While fans were waiting for a simple update on her knee, she dropped a bombshell about her future that suggests her days in a Fever jersey might be numbered if the front office doesn't wake up. The blonde bomber isn't just waiting by the phone anymore, she is making power moves that have nothing to do with a basketball court and everything to do with her skyrocketing brand. The league is officially on notice, because the enforcer of the Fever is playing a completely different game now, and the stakes have never been higher for Caitlin Clark's squad.
That the bonehead Indiana Fever front office and head coach will make the right moves to secure Caitlin Clark's right teammates. It's a big deal, y'all. We got to break this thing down, man. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, and hype the video. As always, it would be greatly appreciated if you hype the video. Let's get into things. So, off-season is underway. Moves have to be made. Decisions have to be made. And we don't need people distracted like I see Stephanie White is clearly distracted with side.
The timing of this announcement couldn't be more calculated or more stressful for the Indiana faithful. Sophie's one-year $100,000 contract has officially expired, leaving her as one of the most coveted free agents in the market. After 6 years with the Phoenix Mercury, she finally found her rhythm in Indiana. But the ending of the 2025 season was a literal nightmare. Now, with the WNBA reaching a brand new collective bargaining agreement, the entire financial structure of the league has been flipped upside down. Sophie is standing at a crossroads, where her off-court success is starting to rival her on-court impact. She knows her worth, and she's making sure the Fever front office knows it too, before the free agency period officially kicks off next month.
Decisions have to be made, and we don't need people distracted like I see Stephanie White is clearly distracted with side quests and side gigs right now. I don't like it, but hey, it is what it is. Sophie Cunningham had a big-time announcement. Let's take a look at it. Sophie Cunningham announces career news before 8th WNBA season, all right? Here it says, Sophie Cunningham of the Indiana Fever had a disappointing 2025 WNBA season, which ended with a semifinal loss to the Las Vegas Aces.
We have to look back at the brutal reality of how her last season ended, to understand why this news is so shocking. Sophie was averaging nearly 9 points and 4 rebounds, while shooting a lethal 47% from the field. She was the glue holding the rotation together, until that devastating moment against the Connecticut Sun. A torn MCL didn't just end her 7th WNBA season, it ripped the heart out of a Fever team that was finally finding its championship DNA. That injury, combined with the physical toll on Caitlin Clark, forced the team to watch the postseason from the sidelines. It was a disappointing finish to a year that promised so much, and it left a lingering question about whether Sophie would ever be the same explosive player again.
1,000% would have won that WNBA title last season. I believe they would have. But hey, it is what it is. Here it says, Cunningham spent their first 6 seasons with the Phoenix Mercury before the Fever acquired her last offseason via trade. The former Missouri guard found success in Indiana, averaging 8.6 points per game on 47% shooting, 3.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists per game. But in August, Cunningham suffered a torn MCL, which ended her 7th WNBA season. And I believe that came against the Connecticut Sun, where they played dirty.
The narrative surrounding her return has been complicated by the sheer intensity of the way she plays the game. Sophie Cunningham earned the nickname Sophie the Trophy for a reason. But she's also the undisputed bodyguard for the franchise cornerstone. When the Connecticut Sun decided to play dirty and ambush Caitlin Clark, it was Sophie who stepped into the line of fire. She didn't hesitate to defend her teammate against the lowdown tactics of a team that seemed determined to bruise the rookie star. That loyalty is why the fans love her, but it's also why her recent announcement feels like such a pivot. Is she still focused on being the muscle on the court, or has her focus shifted to the massive opportunities waiting for her in the corporate world?
Cunningham suffered a torn MCL, which ended her 7th WNBA season. And I believe that came against the Connecticut Sun, where they play dirty. They're a bunch of low down, dirty players over there. We already know how they give it up. Okay, they ambushed and attacked Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham stepped in, and that is part of the reason why we love her. And then it just so happens that at Connecticut, another dirty play happens from Bria Hartley, and it ends Sophie Cunningham's, I believe it was versus them, where her season got injured. But I know that's when Caitlin Clark's groin got hurt again.
The bombshell news that has everyone talking involves a massive partnership that proves Sophie is becoming a global brand. She just announced a high-profile collaboration between her hit podcast, Show Me Something, and the hospitality giant Marriott Bonvoy. This isn't just a small social media shout-out, it's a 4-episode limited series called Live from the Bracket, launching right in the middle of the March Madness craze. This project positions Sophie as a media powerhouse. She was recently spotted in the heart of New York City, taking over the streets to talk college hoops with fans and build hype for her new series. It's clear that, while the Fever front office is scratching their heads, Sophie is out here securing the bag in a very big way.
A massive pay raise when free agency begins next month. That's definitely something you got to pay attention to, because Sophie Cunningham is going to get a baggy bag from somewhere, and I'm hoping nobody gets out of their mind and offers her something crazy that is not even logical for the Indiana Fever to pay. And hopefully the Indiana Fever can retain Sophie Cunningham and bring her back to play with Caitlin Clark, okay? Here it says, on Thursday, Cunningham had news to share. She announced a partnership between her podcast, Show Me Something, and Marriott Bonvoy. Okay, the Fever star will host.
This move into the spotlight in Manhattan was a calculated masterclass in personal branding. Sophie was seen engaging with fans about their travel habits and their March Madness brackets, proving she has a charm that translates far beyond the basketball arena. She's leaning into the travel and lifestyle space, which is a far cry from the gritty, physical battle she endures on the WNBA hardwood. By teaming up with a brand as massive as Marriott, she is signaling that her value isn't just tied to her three-point percentage. She is a personality that people want to follow, and that gives her incredible leverage. If Indiana doesn't offer her a massive pay raise, there are plenty of other teams and brands ready to back up the truck for her.
Free agents are going to see Sophie Cunningham's off-the-floor success, which a large part of it is because of Caitlin Clark and her association. Let's be clear here. When she defended Caitlin Clark and attacked J.C. Sheldon in retaliation, okay, she jumped up to 1 million followers so fast. A bunch of free agents are going to see her success off the floor, and they're going to want the same for themselves. But we have to be sure, which is why I need this front office focused and paying attention, because we got to make sure these people are coming with the correct intentions.
The financial implications of this are staggering when you consider the Caitlin Clark effect. Since Sophie stepped up to defend the rookie sensation and took on the league's villains, her social media following has exploded to over 1 million followers. That kind of reach is unprecedented for a role player, and it has turned her into a marketing magnet. Other free agents are watching this success with hungry eyes, realizing that playing next to Caitlin is a fast track to off-court riches. However, this creates a dangerous situation for the Fever. They need players who are there for the right reasons, not just people looking to use the team as a platform for their side gigs. The front office has to distinguish between true teammates and opportunistic scammers.
Be sure, which is why I need this front office focused and paying attention, because we got to make sure these people are coming with the correct intentions. Unlike Dewana, the scammer Bonner, who hustled the team, unlike Natasha Howard, who wanted to come and be MVP and all of this stuff. We need people that are coming. We know you're going to reap some benefits. You're going to gain popularity. You're probably going to make some extra off the court money, etc. We need to make sure you are here for the right reasons, though. And I feel like the front office has to do a better job of that. Make no mistake about it. Sophie.
There is a growing concern among the fan base that the Indiana front office and head coach Stephanie White are dropping the ball during this critical offseason. While Sophie is out here building a media empire, the leadership of the team seems distracted by their own side quests. Stephanie White has been linked to various other gigs and roles that have fans wondering if her eyes are truly on the prize for the 2026 season. We saw how a lack of focus and questionable decision-making cost the team in the playoffs last year. If the coach and the front office aren't fully committed to securing the right talent around Caitlin Clark, they risk wasting the prime years of a generational talent. The distraction level is currently at an all-time high. The physical nature of the league is only getting more intense, and Sophie's role as the enforcer is more valuable than ever. We all remember the dirty play from Bria Hartley that contributed to the chaotic end of the season. The league has become a shark tank, where rookies like Caitlin are targeted every single night. Without a veteran like Sophie to provide that physical protection and mental toughness, the Fever could easily be bullied out of contention. Sophie has been very vocal about her intentions from the very beginning, and she hasn't shied away from the truth. She admitted that part of her plan in joining Indiana was to be close to the momentum surrounding Caitlin Clark, and to grow her own brand. But unlike some other players who just want the fame, Sophie actually backed it up with her play. She passed the ball. She played within the system. And she put her body on the line, until her MCL literally gave out. She did right by the team, while she was doing right by herself. The front office needs to be focused and ready to act the moment free agency opens. We cannot have a repeat of past mistakes, where the team settled for players who didn't fit the culture or the system. The fans are demanding excellence, and they are demanding that the team retain the core players who have shown they are willing to fight. Sophie Cunningham has done her part. She has grown her brand. She has supported her teammates. And she has survived a grueling injury. Now, it's time for the organization to do their part, and make sure she stays in a Fever uniform. The bombshell news of her partnership is just the beginning. The real news will be when she signs on the dotted line to return. The conversation around Sophie's off-court success often overshadows her tactical importance to the team. She is a floor spacer, who allows Caitlin Clark the room to operate and create magic. Without her threat from the perimeter, defenses can collapse on the paint, and make life miserable for the Fever stars. Her shooting percentage, and her ability to hit clutch shots, are what make the Indiana offense flow. This is why her return is non-negotiable, for anyone who wants to see this team win a championship. You can't just replace a 47% shooter, who also happens to be the toughest person on the floor. The Fever need to pull out all the stops to keep the blonde bomber in town. Ultimately, Sophie Cunningham is showing the world exactly how it's done in the modern era of women's sports. She isn't waiting for permission to be a star. She's taking the spotlight and running with it. Whether she's in the middle of Times Square talking hoops, or in the gym rehabbing her MCL, she is moving with purpose. The bombshell announcement about her podcast, and the Marriott deal, is a testament to her vision. She has successfully navigated the transition from a role player to a household name. Now, the ball is in the Indiana Fever's court. They have to decide if they are ready to invest in a superstar, who brings both elite talent and massive cultural influence to the table, before someone else.